Okay, so Philip, you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. One for you, Chris. Talking to Marco yesterday, he said when the Bahrain game was on, he was 7 years old in the crowd, and I understand there's a bunch of the All Whites teammates, the current squad, were in the crowd that day. What does it mean for you as the sole survivor of that team that qualified for the World Cup that sort of inspired this new generation of All Whites?
Look, it's nice to hear. We've heard stories about wherever we was when that game happened, that one of the two most historic games in New Zealand football history. So it shows how much it has an effect on the next generation. That's why these two games starting on Friday is massive for us as a nation.
And Darren, is that something that you've spoken about as a group and tried to use that to inspire the team ahead of the return?
Yeah, I mean, you can't forget moments like that. You know, it's a really big moment for New Zealand and the All Whites. You know, Rory scoring out here, you know, at Westpac at the time, it was a massive moment. Qualifying for the World Cup was massive at the time, and it's something that we want to replicate, this time round.
And with the form that Chris is in at the moment, how as the All Whites do you try to get the best out of a player that's scoring a lot of goals in the Premier League?
Yeah, I mean, what Chris is doing is amazing, scoring goals at the highest level in the toughest league in the world and consistently is great. It's our job as a team to try and replicate the service that Chris gets at his club, which is pretty high level. He's got some good players around him there, but, we've got some good players in the squad that are up for that challenge and they want to also supply good service for Chris to score goals.
Chris, is there anything that's happened with the way Forest play that has enabled you to have the season that you're having, and when you come back into the national team, is there anything that you can replicate there?
I think it's just the confidence and consistency that our team's had since Nuno's come in. Everybody's believed in the process that he's put into the pitch. I think that's why the club's been so fruitful this season, and I think it goes just hand in hand with the team doing well that I was lucky enough to do well at the same time.
Darren, what do you expect from Fiji? We've obviously seen a few of their players in and around the A-League, but what do you expect from them on Friday?
We're expecting a challenge. I've heard they've got a good coach that's got them organised and prepared. So yeah, we've watched quite a lot of their previous games and we know quite a lot of their players. We know that we're the favourites, with the squad that we have. We know we're the favourites for the game, but we also know it's a game of football, and we know that they're going to come with some strengths and some challenges for us. So yeah, we're expecting a good, tough game.
Yeah, it's a different qualification process to this World Cup, obviously, given there's more teams. You mentioned you're the favourites. You can look on paper at the world rankings. Do you sort of see it almost as an expectation you guys get through these two games?
I think it's a difficult thing, for people to not get too carried away too quickly, because obviously, with the team we have, we are the favourites, but we know that, and the players understand that, but they also understand, that they have to actually not be complacent in these moments and actually do their jobs, and they know that the teams that we face are going to pose some challenges, and they have previously when we've played against the island teams over the last 10, 15 years, So, yeah, we know what we have to do, and we know the expectations are there as well.
And we obviously talk to players about what it means to go to a World Cup, but for you as a coach, what would it mean to get this team to a World Cup?
I mean, it is the biggest football tournament, or maybe the biggest sporting event in the world. And for me personally, I actually feel like it's my responsibility to get this job done. I was put in place to ensure that we go to the World Cup and help us get there, and so I feel like it's my job. If we're successful, then it'll be a great experience. Yeah.
Given that it's your job, would you see it as a failure if you didn't?
Yeah, for sure.
Darren, how have you gone about making your selection decisions for Friday?
Well, currently we haven't. We're still waiting for players to arrive, if I'm honest. So we'll train today and tomorrow. We've got 2 days training before the game. So we'll just assess everybody at this stage of how they've travelled, how they're feeling after that long travel for some of them, and we'll make some decisions soon.
Are you able to think about it as a two-game thing, or not?
No, we I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, but we'll attack the next game and just deal with the next game that's in front of us.
Who's still to arrive, Darren?
We've got Michael Boxall arriving today, and John Callum just arrived.
And how's Eli?
Yeah, good. Yeah, he came on, trained the last week, played for his club. He's in good spirits.
If you do play 2 games space, and again I know I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but if you do, is it most likely that you'll use the same 11 to start both? Is that Your ideal?
I think it's every game we ever play. When we play these two games, we never pick the second team first. So we'll play the game, go into recovery phase, and see who's available. Like I say, at this stage, we're just concentrating on Fiji.
Have you worked out who your goalkeeper is for Friday night?
Maybe.
Who's your goalkeeper for Friday night?
Can't tell you.
Darren, just on the World Cup, I guess qualification, and I don't want to seem too cynical, but would it feel the same getting through to this World Cup as, say, it did for the boys back in 09?
I think it'll feel the same because the rewards are the same. Ultimately, it doesn't matter how you qualify, who you play against to get to the World Cup. We all want to go to the World Cup. Obviously, those intercontinental games were big games and big moments. And when you look back the last three times, Costa Rica, Peru, Mexico, have been challenging games, and we've been very close. What we have now is a lot of players that have experienced the hurt of not qualifying, whether that was Mexico, Peru or Costa Rica, and you may have done all three. Mm-hmm. And it hurts. The players are hurting. Some of the players know that they've missed out on these moments. So that makes it more challenging, I think, for Fiji, knowing that we've got a team that won't be complacent. That they're ready. They know this opportunity is in front of them, and they're ready to take it.
And on the other hand, it gives the chance for the Tahitis, New Caledonians, and possibly Fiji to feel that hurt, knowing they can get close with this new format as well.
For sure, I think it's a great format. For this region to have automatic entry, has been needed. It's difficult when we've had to play previously. Teams that finish fifth in CONMEBOL or CONCACAF, fourth in CONCACAF. They're tough games. Mexico and Peru and Costa Rica have been tough moments. So games we haven't been able to get over the top of. So it's been a while since we went to World Cup, and we're determined to go back there.
Chris, on those disappointing moments you mentioned yesterday, unfinished business, do those moments sort of surmount to where you want to get to with this team?
Yeah, well and truly. Those hardships that you go through strive you on for bigger and better things, and that's what this moment has in time. We've got a chance, starting with Friday, to achieve something great, and I do believe that Oceania should have an automatic entry. Since a long time ago, they should have had to make it a full World Cup of every continent around the world.
Is that why, just so it is every confederation represented?
Yeah, I think that's truly a fair way of doing it, and I do think our confederation should be represented in some sort of way.
And how does this campaign feel different for you? When you are the heavy favourites versus some of those other intercontinental playoffs where you always be underdogs?
Look, we just have to change, be a different mindset, come up with different challenges. We're going to face different challenges throughout different teams that we come up against. We know in our history we've always had tough games, and we've always had challenges against the island teams, and we haven't overcome them all the time. So we need to make sure we do what we do well, focus on the game in hand, and try and put our best foot forward.